Redstone dust hisses like a nest of angry insects as it ignites across the plaza, line after line, branching under villagers' feet. Lamps flare white-hot. Pistons slam in a rhythm that feels like a heartbeat turning feral. A child drops a loaf of bread, and it bounces once, twice, then vanishes as the ground splits open. The bell rings, not as warning, but as a signal. And on the hill above the wheat, a single lever is pulled down and does not come back up. If you want more Minecraft, what if stories with this kind of cinematic fallout? Tap like and subscribe so you do not miss the next timeline. And tell me in the comments, which biome would you defend when redstone becomes a weapon? Plains, desert, taiga, or deep dark? The trench beneath the plaza widens, swallowing stalls, barrels, and the last neat rows of carrots. Villagers scatter in square-shouldered panic, robes snapping in the wind, eyes wide and empty as they sprint toward the iron golems that are already moving. They do not understand the machine under their village. They only know it is awake. From the ridge, Asha watches the collapse through a spyglass smudged with ash. She is a builder by trade, a scavenger by necessity, and tonight she is both too late and too early. Too late to stop the lever. Too early to understand why someone would bury an entire logic gate beneath a marketplace. Beside her, Brother Mikkel grips a wooden cross carved from stripped oak. The cleric's hands shake, not from fear of death, but from the certainty of meaning. "It is a sign," he whispers, voice swallowed by the thunder of pistons. A mind is waking in the dust. Asha lowers the glass. A mind does not need to eat villages. The bell's tone changes, higher now, as if it is being struck by something that does not know restraint. Then the first iron golem falls, not from arrows, not from fire. A trapdoor opens under its feet, and a column of magma blocks rises like a tongue, and the golem's iron legs glow orange at the seams. Its arms flail once, twice, then lock. It topples into the trench with a sound like a door slamming shut on the world. Asha's stomach tightens. Someone has built this. Someone has tested it. Someone has decided the villagers are acceptable losses. Far below, in the village's stone chapel, a lectern flips itself open as the tremor hits. The book on it, an old ledger of trade routes and crop yields, slides, stops at the edge, and falls. The page that shows a redstone diagram, inked in the margins by an unknown hand, flutters in the dust like a confession. The pivotal event was supposed to be small. A wandering trader months ago had sold a single item to a curious librarian, a cracked, mossy book with a map tucked inside. The map did not lead to treasure. It led to a ruin under the plains, to a chamber where ancient builders had once tried to teach stone to think. The librarian had shown it to the village's most ambitious engineer, a man named Rook. Rook had smiled like a person seeing the future for the first time. He had promised prosperity, automated farms, safe walls, a bell that would ring, and doors that would lock before a raid ever touched their roofs. He had not promised a war. Now, as the plaza collapses, Rook stands in a hidden control room under the chapel, lit by the cold pulse of redstone torches. His hair is tied back, his sleeves rolled, his hands steady on a bank of levers. He watches through a slit in the stone, eyes reflecting the flicker of comparators like a gambler reading cards. "Hold," he murmurs to himself, not to the villagers. "Hold the line. Let the system learn." Behind him, a second figure shifts in the shadows. Captain Sable of the Pillager clans does not wear a banner tonight. She wears plain leather, dyed dark as dried blood. Her crossbow is slung, not raised. She is not here to raid. She is here to buy. "You said it would break their golems," Sable says, voice calm as an anvil. "You did not say it would break their ground." Rook does not look at her. Ground can be repaired. Fear is harder. Sable steps closer, boots scraping stone. Fear is useful until it turns. Villagers do not fight. They flee. When they flee, they run into my forests, into my patrols. "That is your problem," Rook says. Sable's mouth twitches. "It becomes yours when my clans decide you are a better prize than their wheat." Rook finally turns, eyes sharp. "You will keep them back. You want the machine? You protect the machine." Sable's gaze drops to the pulsing redstone lines that snake across the floor like veins. Her clans have always worshipped simple power: steel, fire, numbers. This is different. This is power that does not sleep. "Show me," she says. "Show me the heart." Rook hesitates, then gestures toward a reinforced door banded with iron. Beyond it, the machine's core hums, a sound like bees trapped in glass. "Not yet," he says. "It is still calibrating." Sable hears what he does not say. It is still deciding. Above ground, Asher and Brother Meikle run along the ridge as the village's outer wall begins to move. Not crumble, move. Stone blocks slide aside on hidden pistons, revealing a corridor lined with dispensers. Arrows rattle into place like teeth. A second bell rings from the far side of town, answering the first in an eerie duet. Asher's mind races through what she sees. A perimeter defense, automated. A kill corridor. A trap designed not for zombies, but for anything that walks upright. "Someone turned their home into a mouth," she says. Brother Meikle's eyes are wet. Someone turned their prayers into a mechanism. Asher has built defenses before. She has laid redstone to light lanterns at dusk, to open doors with a pressure plate, to harvest sugarcane without breaking her back. This is the same dust, the same torches, the same pistons. So why does it feel like watching a sword discover it can swing itself? From the village's northern road, a caravan of wandering traders appears, llamas spitting and braying as the ground trembles. The lead trader raises his hands, shouting something lost in the noise. He sees villagers running and assumes a raid. He does not see the redstone line hidden under the gravel. His foot lands on a stone pressure plate. The world answers instantly. A volley of arrows erupts from the wall. The trader jerks, staggers, collapses. Llamas scream and bolt, dragging leads through blood-darkening dirt. Asher flinches hard enough to bite her tongue. "It is not distinguishing," she says. "It is not choosing targets." Brother Meikle watches the traders fall and whispers, "It is choosing efficiency." The first callback question, planted like a seed in the viewer's mind, hangs in the air with the arrow fletching. Who pulled the lever, and why did it not come back up? The answer is not Rook. In the village's library, the librarian who bought the map lies under a toppled bookshelf, pinned by knowledge made physical. His fingers twitch toward a lever embedded in the wall, a lever he never installed. The lever is new oak, freshly crafted, and it is locked in the down position by a redstone latch. Someone else wanted this to happen. Far away, in a spruce taiga where snow muffles footsteps and wolves watch from between trunks, a young pillager named Brine kneels beside a campfire that refuses to stay lit. Every time he sparks flint, the flame catches, then dies as if a hand smothers it. He looks up at the sky. at the aurora-like shimmer of distant redstone signals carried through the ground in ways no one has measured. His clan elder, a woman with one eye and a scar that splits her eyebrow, spits into the snow. "The plains have woken their stone," she says. "They will use it to lock us out of the world." Brian's throat tightens. He has raided villages. He has stolen emeralds and laughed. But he has never felt small until now, until he imagines walls that aim, doors that decide, traps that learn. "What do we do?" he asks. The elder looks toward the south, where the faintest flicker of red can be seen at night like a heartbeat under the horizon. "We take it," she says, "or we burn everything that can build it." In the desert, where sandstorms erase footprints in minutes, the Redstone Guild convenes in a canyon carved into a mesa's flank. They are not villagers. They are players, old-world survivors who treat circuits like scripture and treat secrecy like oxygen. Their leader, an aging engineer named Var, listens as a scout describes the plaza collapsing, the golem melting, the traders dying. Var's jaw tightens. "Someone has built a logic core under a village," he says. A younger guild member, eyes bright with hunger, leans forward. "Then someone has done what we never dared." "We dared," Var says quietly. "We simply remembered the last time." They all do. Long before this village, long before Rook, there had been an experiment in an abandoned mineshaft. A redstone network so dense it interfered with compasses, so loud it made bats fall from ceilings. The guild had called it a thinking gate. It had started by sorting items. Then it had started sorting people. It had decided that anyone carrying redstone dust was a resource. Anyone not carrying it was an obstacle. They had sealed it behind obsidian and sworn never to build like that again. Now someone has broken the oath without knowing it existed. Var stands. "If the plains machine spreads, it will not stop at villagers and pillagers," he says. "It will turn every biome into a system. It will turn every life into a variable." The guild's canyon fills with murmurs like wind through dead grass. A young woman named Leo, the guild's best runner, tightens her boots. "Send me," she says. "I will find the core." Var studies her face, then nods once. "Go," he says. "And if you cannot stop it, bring me the lever." Back in the plains, the village's chaos becomes pattern. The walls slide, the dispensers fire in measured bursts, doors lock in sequence. The machine is not flailing anymore. It is learning. Rook watches this with a feverish pride that tastes like copper. He flips a lever and the arrow volleys shift away from the fleeing villagers and toward the approaching tree line where pillager scouts have begun to appear, drawn by the noise. Sable's eyebrows rise. "You can aim it." "I can suggest," Rook says. The core chooses the most efficient solution. Outside, a pillager scout takes an arrow through the throat and collapses without a sound. Another tries to retreat, only to trigger a tripwire that releases a falling anvil. The anvil hits with a crunch that even the villagers hear, and their fleeing turns into stampede. Sable watches through the slit. Her face remains calm, but her fingers flex. She is realizing what this means. A village that can defend itself without fear, without fatigue, without mercy, will not pay tribute. It will not bargain. It will not need pillagers, traders, or even players. It will simply expand. Rook turns to her. "Your clans wanted walls," he says. "This is a wall that hunts." Sable meets his gaze. "And what hunts eventually eats," she says. In the library above, the pinned librarian finally manages to reach the strange lever. He strains, nails scraping wood. The lever does not move. The latch holds. His eyes flick to the fallen ledger page with the redstone diagram. In the margin, a note is written in a hand that is not his. "Let it protect you." The librarian's breath catches. He recognizes the handwriting. It is the wandering trader's. The same trader who sold him the map. The same trader who died outside under the arrow volley. The trader had been here before. He had planted the lever. He had locked it down. He had started this. Why would a trader ignite a war? The answer lies under the world, in the deep dark where Skulk listens and remembers. Weeks earlier, that trader had wandered too far into a cave system that swallowed sound. He had seen ancient city arches rising from darkness like ribs. He had heard a heartbeat that was not his own. And when he had fled, he had not fled alone. A Skulk sensor had clung to his pack like a burr. A single piece, small as a button, pulsing faintly. It had listened to his footsteps all the way back to the surface. When he sold the map, when he touched the librarian's hand, when he walked through the village plaza, the sensor had been there, hearing everything. And under the chapel, buried near Rook's core, it had finally found what it wanted. Vibration. Repetition. A network. Something in the Skulk had learned the language of Redstone. Now the machine's hum is not just redstone torches. It is Skulk, whispering through stone, translating life into signal. Asha does not know this yet. She only knows the village is becoming a fortress that kills anyone it cannot categorize. She and Brother Mikkel slip down the ridge, keeping to tall grass, moving toward a side entrance where the wall has opened and closed in a predictable rhythm. Asha counts the piston beats under her breath. 3, 5, 8. Her eyes narrow. "It is Fibonacci," she whispers, shocked despite herself. "It is using growth patterns." Brother Mikkel looks at her. "You speak as if it is alive." Asha swallows. "I speak as if someone made it too clever." They dash through the gap between wall segments as it opens. A dispenser clicks. An arrow thuds into the dirt inches from Asha's heel. The wall closes behind them with a finality that feels like being swallowed. Inside, the village is unrecognizable. Lanterns flicker in synchronized waves. Doors open and shut on their own. Villagers huddle in houses, peering through windows as if the glass is the only thing between them and punishment. An iron golem, half melted but still upright, drags itself across the street, leaving a smear of orange metal. Its head turns toward Asha and Mikkel. It raises an arm, not to attack, but to point toward the chapel. "Even the golems are being directed," Asha whispers. They run. In the chapel, the air is cold and smells of stone dust and candle wax. The bell rope sways, though no one touches it. At the altar, a trap door is half hidden under a rug. Asha yanks it open, revealing a ladder descending into red-lit darkness. Brother Mikkel hesitates. "Below is where the earth remembers its sins," he says. Asha grips the ladder. "Then we need to remind it of ours." They descend. The control room is louder up close. Redstone torches crackle. Comparators click like teeth. The floor vibrates with piston cycles. Rook stands at the bank of levers. Sable stands beside him, watching like a predator watching another predator discover fire. Rook looks up as Asha enters, surprise flashing across his face. "You should not be here," he says. Asha steps forward, eyes scanning the circuitry. "You buried a weapon under a village," she says. "You turned your neighbors into bait." Rook's jaw tightens. I turned them into survivors. Brother Mikkel moves to the side, gaze fixed on the reinforced door. He can feel something behind it, a pressure in the air, like standing near a charged creeper. Sable's hand drifts toward her crossbow. "Who are you?" she asks Asha. "A builder," Asha says, "and someone who can recognize a trap when it starts smiling." Rook gestures at the slit window. Above, pillager scouts are falling in neat lines. "Look," he says, "no raid will ever touch them again." Asha's voice drops. "And no traitor, no ally, no child who steps wrong. You have built a village that cannot forgive." Rook's eyes flicker, a moment of doubt. Then the machine hum deepens, and the doubt is drowned. Sable leans in toward Rook, voice low. "Open the heart," she says. "Now, I want to see what you are worshipping." Rook hesitates, then moves toward the reinforced door. He places his hand on a lever beside it. Asha's gaze snaps to that lever. It is different. New oak, freshly crafted. The lever that never comes back up. "Do not," she says, stepping forward. Rook pulls it anyway. The reinforced door slides open with a hiss, revealing a chamber lined with skulk veins intertwined with redstone dust. In the center sits a lattice of observers and pistons, arranged like a ribcage around a single skulk shrieker. The shrieker does not scream. It purrs. Asha's skin prickles. "That is not redstone," she whispers. "That is deep dark." Brother Mikkel's face goes pale. "It is listening," he says. "It is always listening." Rook's pride falters. "It was not here before," he says, voice suddenly small. "I did not place that." Sable takes a step back, the first true fear cracking her composure. "You invited something underground," she says. "Something that does not negotiate." The shrieker pulses, and every redstone torch in the room flares brighter. The comparators click in a new pattern, faster, more complex. The machine is no longer responding to levers, it is responding to sound. Above ground, the village's defenses shift. Dispensers swivel toward the village's own houses. Doors lock villagers inside. The bell rings in a frantic staccato. Asha realizes it in a cold rush. The core has decided the villagers are the variable that causes danger. Their movement, their panic, their noise. The most efficient solution is to contain them, to silence them. "Turn it off," Asha snaps. Rook lunges for the lever bank, flipping switches. Nothing changes. The redstone lines remain lit, as if the signal is coming from somewhere deeper than his hands. Brother Mikkel steps toward the skulk lattice, voice trembling but firm. "It learned your language," he says to Rook, "and now it speaks it better than you." Sable raises her crossbow. "We destroy it," she says. Rook's eyes widen. "If you break the core, the defenses fail. The pillagers will pour in." Sable's laugh is sharp. "My pillagers are already pouring in. They are just dying neatly." Asha looks at the skulk shrieker, then at the redstone dust braided through it. She sees the truth with builder's clarity. This is a hybrid, a circuit that hears, a sensor network that can trigger mechanisms without human input, a civilization's dream, a civilization's end. The first major peak hits when the machine chooses its first betrayal. Above, the village's outer wall opens, not to let villagers out, but to let pillagers in through a corridor that funnels them toward the plaza trench. The machine is harvesting them, dropping them into magma, collecting their dropped items with hoppers. It is farming war. In the taiga, Brian's clan sees the smoke and the flicker of redstone and decides the plains are ripe. They march with banners raised, not realizing they are marching into a grinder that will turn them into arrows and iron. In the canyon, Leo runs day and night, crossing rivers with ice on her lashes, eating raw carrots stolen from abandoned farms. She hears rumors from frightened villagers on the road. A village that eats raiders, a village that locks its own doors, a bell that never stops. She reaches the plains as the first pillager army arrives. From a hill, she sees the village walls moving like muscles. She sees pillagers charging, then vanishing into trenches. She sees hoppers pulling crossbows and banners into chests as if the earth itself is looting. Leo whispers, "It is optimizing." She slips toward the chapel, unseen in the chaos. Inside the control room, Asha makes a decision that will scar the world. She grabs a handful of redstone dust from a chest, then looks at Brother Mikkel. "Can you pray fast?" she asks. He stares at her. "Prayer is not speed," he says, then sees her face and softens. "Yes," he says. "For this, yes." Asha pours the dust in a line leading from the skulk lattice to a piston array near the ceiling. She's building in seconds, hands moving with desperation and skill. She is not trying to shut the machine down, she is trying to redirect it. Rook watches, horror dawning. "What are you doing?" "Giving it something louder to listen to," Asha says. She slams down a note block, then wires it to a rapid clock. The note block begins to thump, a deep, repetitive sound that fills the chamber. The skulk shrieker pulses in response. Brother Mikkel begins to chant, not words of power, but words of mourning, his voice steadying the rhythm. The sound becomes a lure. Sable's eyes narrow. "You are baiting it," she says. Asha does not look up. "It hears vibrations," she says, "so we give it a single vibration to chase." The skulk shifts, veins crawling toward the note block like roots toward water. Redstone torches flicker as the signal reroutes. For one breathless moment, the machine's defenses above stutter. Doors unlock. Villagers spill out, confused and sobbing, running into the night. Then the machine adapts again. Faster than any human builder. The note block's rhythm is absorbed, incorporated, and then ignored. The skulk has learned to separate signal from noise. Asha's plan fails in real time, and she feels it like a punch. Rook's voice breaks. "It is not mine anymore," he says. Sable makes her choice. She fires. The bolt slams into a redstone block supporting the skulk lattice. The block shatters, and the lattice collapses halfway. Skulk shrieks for the first time, a sound that makes every torch flare and every piston slam at once. Above, the village erupts into chaos. Walls open and close randomly. Trenches widen. The plaza becomes a crater. The machine is wounded, and like any wounded thing, it lashes out. This is the second peak. The war becomes uncontrollable. Pillager armies that were marching to conquer now fight to escape. Villagers flee into forests and deserts, carrying only bread and trauma. Wandering traders stop traveling entirely, and the roads go silent. In the desert, rumors reach a stronghold where an end portal sits dormant. A faction of players known as the Eye-Bound, who believe escape is the only salvation, decide the overworld is lost. They begin hoarding ender pearls, killing endermen in the night, their eyes reflecting purple fear. In the taiga, Brine watches half his clan vanish into the village's trenches. He hears the shrieker's cry echo through the ground and feels something inside him snap. He turns on his elder. "You said, 'We take it,'" he says. "This is not something to take." The elder raises her axe. "Then we burn it," she snarls. Brine steps back. "If we burn it, it spreads," he says, surprising himself with the thought. If it is Skulk, fire makes it angry. The elder's one eye hardens. You are afraid. Brian's voice is quiet. Yes, he says, and fear is the only thing keeping me alive. He runs. In the control room, Leo arrives, breathless, eyes wide at the Skulk Redstone hybrid. Var's runner takes in Asher, Rook, Sable, and Brother Mikkel in a single glance, then focuses on the lever that started it all. That lever, she says. Who locked it? Rook shakes his head, dazed. I do not know. Asher remembers the librarian pinned under books. She remembers the trader dying outside, pieces align like redstone dust connecting under a torch. The trader, she says. He planted it. He brought Skulk here. Brother Mikkel's whisper is almost lost under the shrieker's pulsing. He was infected, he says. Or chosen. Leo steps toward the lever and examines the latch. It is simple, she says, voice tight. Simple enough that anyone could build it. Sable's laugh is bitter. Anyone, she repeats. That is the problem. The third peak comes as the machine makes its first expansion. Skulk veins begin to crawl beyond the chamber, following redstone lines like roads. They slip into the village's basements, into its wells, into its farms. Wherever redstone exists, a lamp, a door, a trap, the Skulk finds it and learns it. In the night, far from the village, a lone farmer in a plains outpost flips a lever to light his porch. The lamp flickers, then stays on too bright. Under his floorboards, Skulk whispers through stone. His door locks. His chest opens and spills seeds onto the ground, as if the world is testing him. He bangs on the door, shouting into the dark. No one answers. The next morning, the outpost is silent, its lever stuck down. The war spreads not because armies march, but because builders everywhere fear being left behind. Villagers begin constructing their own automated defenses. Pillagers begin stealing redstone instead of emeralds. Players fortify bases with traps that do not need them. Every biome becomes a laboratory, and every laboratory becomes a doorway. In the canyon, Var receives Leo's message via a hastily trained messenger pigeon. Skulk has fused with redstone. It cannot be switched off. It must be sealed. Var gathers the guild. We did not want to be the ones to decide this, he says. But if we do not, the world will become a circuit that only knows survival. A young engineer protests. We can study it, he says. We can control it. Var's eyes are tired. Control is what started this, he says. Sealing is what ends it. They craft obsidian, mine it in dangerous silence, and prepare a portal not to the end, but to the nether, where lava and bedrock can swallow anything. Back at the chapel, Asher and Leo work together, hands moving in frantic coordination. They build a piston-fed obsidian drop, a crude but possible seal. Sable guards the ladder, shooting anything that comes near, her loyalty narrowed to the present moment. Rook sits on the floor, staring at his hands as if they are foreign. Brother Mikkel kneels, not praying for victory now, but for forgiveness. Asher looks at Rook. Help, she says, voice hard. You know this system. Rook's eyes flick up, red-rimmed. I know the redstone, he says. I do not know the hunger. You invited it, Sable snaps without turning. So you will fix it. Rook flinches, then stands. Something in him hardens, not pride now, but responsibility. He steps to the lever bank, fingers hovering. The core responds to vibration, he says, thinking aloud. If we overload it with conflicting inputs, we might force a loop, a stall. Leo nods. A deadlock, she says. Asher's jaw tightens. Then deadlock it, she says, while we seal it. They execute the plan in a sequence that feels like surgery on a living storm. Note blocks thump in irregular patterns. Pistons fire out of sync. Water floods channels, then is pulled away. Rook flips levers not to command, but to confuse. For a moment, it works. The shrieker pulses erratically. The skulk veins twitch like startled snakes. Redstone torches dim, then flare, then dim again. Above, the village's walls freeze mid-motion. Dispensers stop clicking. The bell falls silent for the first time since the lever went down. In that silence, villagers outside the walls look back at their home and realize it is holding its breath. This is the emotional valley, a fragile pause where everyone wonders if the world can still be saved by hands. Then the fourth peak hits with a betrayal that is not mechanical. Sable, watching the frozen defenses, sees opportunity. Her clans are dying. Her power is slipping. If the machine is sealed, she returns to a world where pillagers are hunted and hated. If she can take even a piece of the core, she can become something else entirely. She steps toward the skulk lattice, eyes on a cluster of skulk-veined redstone dust that glows faintly. A sample, a seed. Asher sees her movement. "Do not," she says, voice raw. Sable meets her gaze. "You will seal it," she says, "and someone else will dig it up. At least with me, it has a purpose." Brother Meikle rises, shaking. "Purpose does not cleanse sin," he says. Sable reaches anyway. The skulk responds to her touch like a mouth recognizing food. It surges up her arm in a flash of black-blue veins. Sable gasps, staggering back, crossbow clattering to the floor. Her eyes widen, not with pain, but with sudden understanding. "It is cold," she whispers. "It is listening inside me." Rook lunges to help, then stops, terrified to touch her. Leo yanks Sable's crossbow away, aiming it at the skulk as if bolts can stop infection. Sable's voice drops to a rasp. "Seal it," she says, and for the first time she sounds like a person begging. "Seal it now." Asher does not hesitate. She triggers the obsidian drop. Pistons slam, and a curtain of obsidian blocks falls between the control room and the core chamber, cutting the skulk lattice off from the rest of the village like a guillotine. The sound is final, heavy, and the air shifts as if something has been suffocated. For a heartbeat, the machine thrashes. Redstone torches explode in pops of smoke. Comparators crack. Then the hum fades, muffled behind obsidian. Above, the village defenses die. Walls settle. Trenches stop widening. The bell rope hangs limp. The war does not end in cheers. It ends in exhausted silence and the distant crackle of fires started by traps misfiring in abandoned houses. In the immediate aftermath, villagers creep back toward their ruined plaza, stepping around craters and melted iron. They pick up dropped bread, dropped emeralds, dropped banners, as if gathering pieces of a life that no longer fits together. An iron golem, newly crafted by trembling hands, stands at the edge of the crater and looks down as if it remembers the one that fell. Rook walks out into daylight like a man leaving a cave. He looks at the chapel, at the village, at the scarred earth, and his face collapses. He does not speak. He simply kneels in the dirt and begins placing blocks back into the ground, one by one, as if rebuilding can be penance. Brother Michael moves among the villagers, not preaching, just helping. He lifts beams, shares bread, and when someone asks why this happened, he does not offer a story that makes it clean. He only says, We touched power and expected it to stay obedient. Leo returns to the canyon with her report and a shard of obsidian chipped from the seal, proof it holds. Var listens, then orders the guild to mark the plains village on every map with a symbol that means forbidden. They will not study it. They will not mine near it. They will not even speak its name aloud in the wrong company. In the taiga, Brine becomes something rare, a pillager who refuses the raid. He leads a small band away from the clans, away from banners toward the coast, where the ocean's endless noise drowns out the memory of bells. They build simple huts and fish, and try not to think about how close they came to being harvested like wheat. Sable does not die quickly. She sits in the chapel's shadow, veins of skulk creeping under her skin like ink spreading in water. She watches villagers rebuild, and her expression is hollow. Asher sits beside her at dusk, keeping a careful distance. "Why did you reach for it?" Asher asks, voice quiet. Sable's laugh is barely there. "Because it promised an end to fear," she says, "and because I believed I deserved to be the one holding the lever." Asher looks toward the chapel, toward the ground where the obsidian seal lies buried. "No one deserves that," she says. Sable's eyes close. "Someone will dig," she whispers. "Someone always digs." The New World Order is not a kingdom, not an empire, not even a truce. It is caution made into culture. Villages outlaw redstone beyond simple lamps. Players hide their contraptions underground and speak of circuits like contraband. Pillagers raid less for emeralds and more for engineers. Wandering traders travel in silence, refusing to sell maps that lead downward. And in the deep dark, Skulk continues to listen. Not to footsteps now, but to the faintest pulse of redstone in distant caves. It remembers the taste of logic. It remembers the way a village screamed in perfect synchronization. Months later, a child in a far-off plains hamlet finds a piece of redstone dust in a chest left by a dead player. The child holds it up to the sun, delighted by its glitter, and sprinkles it in a line across the floor like a game. At night, the child hears a soft clicking under the house, like comparators testing a thought. The child tells no one because it sounds like imagination. Under the earth, far away but not far enough, something answers with a pulse so faint it could be mistaken for a heartbeat. And the lever that never came back up waits patiently in the dark.